Good afternoon and welcome to Campus Update. I'm Michelle Cheplick.
And I'm Kurt Malig.
The 10% Society is synonymous with the gay community, but do homosexuals really make up 10% of society? Campus Update's Jennifer Lasota tells us about a recent study and the political implications of the results.
As the gay community prepared for the March on Washington, a major national survey claimed their population is smaller than believed. The study on male sexual behavior found that only 1% of the men surveyed said they considered themselves exclusively homosexual. But the study's scientific implications may be overwhelmed by political ones. UW political science professor David Cannon says politicians may not be concerned with a mere 1%.
It's possible that this report that shows that not as many people are at least openly gay or admit that they're gay as previously thought might lessen the willingness of politicians to go out on a limb.
Co-president of the 10% Society, Ralph Rodriguez, says the numbers should not matter.
Whether or not gay people deserve civil rights has nothing whatsoever to do with whether there's one of us or a million of us.
Clinton's stance on gay rights is the reason the gay community strongly supported him in the November presidential election. Rodriguez doesn't think Clinton will renege on his promises, especially after last month's March on Washington.
Clinton realizes that those of us who marched were people who supported him, and he knows that he must keep his pledges with respect to gay people, including the pledge on gays in the military.
For Campus Update, I'm Jennifer Lasota.
Hawaii may become the first state to permit marriages between homosexuals. On Wednesday, the Hawaiian Supreme Court ruled that the state must prove the constitutionality of the ban on gay marriages. The state must also show a compelling interest for the state of Hawaii to keep the ban.
A lot of students could not attend the University of Wisconsin without the help of financial aid. Campus Update's Lisa Neisel tells us how 2,000 UW students are working now to pay less later.
Many students on the UW campus need to take out loans to pay college bills. But for some, Workstudy is an option that keeps the loans from piling up. Senior Lisa Kostecki says Workstudy will allow her to leave the university less in debt.
I have other loans that I took, Stafford loans, and they added up through the years because I'm a senior this year, and I didn't want to have to graduate with that much in loans.
Most students who are eligible for financial aid will be offered the option of Workstudy when they apply. Workstudy supervisor John Sambo says no extra paperwork is necessary to get Workstudy jobs.
When you apply for financial aid, you're doing one-stop shopping. You're applying for Workstudy, the grants that the state and federal government support, and also the loan funds that the state and federal government support.
Workstudy can give students the benefit of new skills that can look good on a resume. Freshman Damian Bandera says the Workstudy program gives him valuable knowledge that will help him when he enters the workforce.
This job in particular has given me office experience. I never had office experience before.
Workstudy students know the hours spent on the job now will benefit them long after graduation. For Campus Update, I'm Lisa Neitzel.
The Milwaukee area is ranked the 18th most affordable place in the nation. 88% of the homes sold are within the reach of median income families. The Twin Cities area is ranked 11th.
The United Daughters of the American Confederacy has lost its patent on a logo featuring the Confederate flag. The Senate Judiciary Committee rejected the organization's request for renewal yesterday after Illinois Senator Carol Moseley Braun said the logo was offensive to black people.
Boston University's most prized document collection will remain. Coretta Scott King sued the university for ownership of over 83,000 documents Martin Luther King Jr. deposited with BU in 1964 and 65. The Superior Court ruled a 1964 letter signed by King shows a binding pledge to the school, but King sent the papers to the school for safekeeping. King wants the documents to join the rest of her husband's personal writings, which are in Atlanta. Hispanics, American Indians, African Americans, and Southeast Asians are all targeted by UW-Madison in an effort to increase the university's minority enrollment. Amy Lewis is here to tell us about the mixed success of recruiting efforts.
The total number of minorities at the UW is up, but increases are not across the board. The presence of one group in particular has actually declined.
There are more minority students on the UW-Madison campus in 1993 than there were 10 years ago, but not all minorities have benefited equally.
Within the population of minority students, there's been kind of uneven change in the different groups. So the number of African American students has actually gone down.
Meanwhile, the number of American Indian students rose, and the number of Asian and Hispanic students doubled.
It's not that we put less emphasis on recruiting African American students.
Sandifer says one reason for the decline is the failure of the UW to maintain good relationships with Milwaukee high schools, where much of their past recruiting efforts were focused. Tessa Reynes of Minority Affairs says it also reflects a national trend.
It's not unique to Madison. It's something that's going on nationally, and there are a lot of theories out there as to why it's happening.
Arenas says none of the current theories adequately addresses the issue, nor are the universities or colleges involved.
Everyone's put plans in place as they're asked to under the Design for Diversity to recruit and to retain students of color. But very few institutions, if any, that I know of in this system or other systems, consistently reflect upon what they've done and try to figure out where it's broken.
Arenas says the goal of Minority Affairs is to research current recruitment policy and to change it if necessary.
Recruiting students is only part of the issue. Retaining them and seeing them graduate is the other half. The total number of minorities graduating this year is higher than it was 10 years ago.
Are African American students among those graduating at higher rates, or are they excluded from that increase as well?
The increase includes all of the targeted minorities. So even though there are fewer African Americans enrolled today, more of them are graduating than in the past.
Thanks. A week and a half ago, the Badger Herald ran a cartoon that had a black Sambo character in it. The Herald's editor says the cartoon was meant to show that use of Native American mascots is racist. But black student groups saw it differently and protested against it. Karen Vernell is the multicultural resident consultant for Woody Hall, and she led some of the protests. She joins Campus Update's Michael Haberman to discuss the comic.
Karen, welcome to Campus Update. Let's start by asking, what in particular about the cartoon did you find so offensive? Was it just that there was a Sambo in the cartoon, or was it just the whole meaning of the cartoon?
In general, the cartoon was just felt to be very stereotypical and racist in itself because it used an inherently racist symbol. Sambo is inherently racist in everything that it is and everything that it entails. So students of color, regardless of the context of the cartoon, when they saw it, when you see a Sambo, you don't think anything positive because it is racist in itself. And so that was part of it. And also that people of color in the entire cartoon were depicted in a negative light, Native Americans as well as African Americans with the Sambo.
Okay, well, the Herald in their response has said exactly that we were depicting the Sambo and the use of the Cleveland Indian mascot in a negative way, and that was their point. Mm-hmm. And they're saying that if you just look at the Sambo, you're taking the cartoon out of context and that you're not getting the true meaning. How do you respond to that?
Well, I have looked at the cartoon in context and I didn't see anything positive about it. It was a case of, once again, like I said, satirizing the victim instead of satirizing the victimizer, and the victims in this case came out looking very badly. And although it could have been a better play on those teams that have Native American mascots, it wasn't. It really made the Native American and African American look bad. And I looked at it in context, and I don't think that was the way it was.
So do you think that maybe his intentions were good, but he didn't express his intentions in a clear way?
He may have very well had, good intentions, but it didn't come across that way. And from the way we were treated at the Herald, as well as his response and the editor's response, it was unsatisfactory. And so we don't quite know what his intentions were. It would have been nice, but I've never had a conversation with him, so I can't say.
Okay, since the comic aired, there's been sort of an anti-racist rebirth movement kind of thing on campus, and black groups and other minority groups are saying there's a big racism problem on campus. What kind of racism are minorities on this campus confronting?
There has always been racism on this campus, I'm sure from its inception, and it has never gone away. It just took something like this to once again bring it to light. There is racism at this university in almost every aspect of it. In university housing, in the administration, in classrooms, with TAs, it stems very deep. and is consistent.
Well, I'm sorry that's all the time we have today, but thank you for joining us on Campus Update, Karen Vernell.
Thank you.
We have a lot of sex.
I think that relieves a lot of the tension.
A lot of tension.
And it really helps to buckle down and study.
I don't have to prepare anymore because I'm done. I just finished this afternoon and now I'm having a beer.
Car pollution is a serious environmental threat. Electric cars are one solution to eliminating carbon monoxide emissions and may be for sale before the turn of the century. Campus Update's Megan Smith tells us about UW research on the design of a charger to fuel electric cars.
The coaxial winding transformer may be a staple in every garage to house an electric car. A team of UW graduate students and faculty are working with the Electric Power Research Institute, General Motors, and Hughes Aircraft on the design of this electric vehicle charger with safety as their #1 concern.
You never plug your oven in on a daily basis. It's done once by an electrician and it remains there forever. What we're talking of here is something that the average consumer is going to handle on a daily basis. His mother's going to handle and his grandmother's going to handle it.
Electric cars could be charged by plugging this coil connected to the car into the core of a transformer, a process similar to pumping gas, though it would take longer.
This particular size would only be able to charge the car overnight. In a charging station, we would like to be able to charge at a much higher rate, something like 10 to 20 times faster, in order to get a full charge in the order of 15 or 20 minutes.
With electric car sales right around the corner and continuing research on this university to find the design of a car charger, gas stations like this one may become a thing of the past. For Campus Update, I'm Megan Smith.
Today, dinosaurs are more popular than ever. Stephanie Wines is here to tell us about a new addition to the UW Geology Museum.
On Saturday, 2 graduate students who have worked on the dinosaurs since January presented it to the public.
Avaceratops is an 8-foot-long, 800-pound plant-eating dinosaur. It roamed the planet about 75 million years ago. Joel Scullin, who has worked on the project with Paul Pankowski, says the Avaceratops is the only skeleton of its kind. He says it's possible more will be found.
Often what happens with dinosaurs is someone will find one, and it'll be unique for a while, and then somewhere 50 miles away they'll find a bone bed with hundreds of them in it.
The dinosaur's remains were first discovered in Montana. The bones were then moved to Philadelphia, where a team of scientists from the Academy of Natural Sciences put the original together. Scullin says there were some differences from the original Avaceratops and the replica he and Pankowski put together.
And they had reconstructed it as if it was related, most closely related to Triceratops.
Children of all ages were present at Saturday's open house. Many were curious about the new addition.
Because we just wanted to see what it looks like. Because I just wanted to see how big they are and stuff.
The Avaceratops is a permanent addition to the Geology Museum's dinosaur exhibit.
Where is the museum located and what can visitors expect to see?
Visitors can expect to see a wide variety of dinosaurs, and the museum is located in Weeks Hall on the UW campus.
Thanks, Stephanie.
More than 100 Wisconsin students blocked workers trying to clear a wooded area for a new tennis court. The protest chanted at the workers on their noon break and tried to stop the trees from being uprooted. Police were called when some students began to climb on the construction equipment. Most students returned to classes after their break ended, and school administrators say the tennis court plans will be reviewed.
Researchers and testing on animals has its supporters and opponents. With both sides of the issue is Campus Update's Rebecca McLean.
Research involving the use of animals is controversial at best.
The work that is being done with animals is there to benefit not only humans but also animals.
Animal testing doesn't work. It just doesn't work.
Animal rights advocates say there are alternative methods to using animals in research and testing.
There are alternatives today. Even if people didn't have alternatives in 1920, they do today. It's almost the year 2000. We have advanced beyond 19th century science.
However, animal researchers say there is ultimately no alternative to animal research.
There is no alternative to an animal model, and for a lot of questions that's true at the moment.
Animal rights advocates say animals are too different from humans for the results to correlate.
That tests in men, human men, were not transferable to human females. Now, if you can't extrapolate results from male to female of our species, how are you going to extrapolate results from mice to humans?
Animal researchers answer that the most biological functions are similar across species.
There are plenty of basic science experiments that are done on rodents, for example, and those are certainly extrapolatable to human beings.
Animal researchers say testing on animals is crucial to prevent harmful effects of products and drugs on humans.
One of the things that is tested, the safeness and efficacy of a drug.
However, animal rights advocates say products have harmed humans even after extensive testing on animals.
People are hospitalized, drugs are removed from the market every day that have already gone through animal tests because people are dying.
Animal researchers and animal rights advocates offer conflicting yet persuasive arguments. The only thing they can agree on is to disagree.
If you ask them for very specific responses, they won't give them to you. Or they may, and then they're just plain wrong.
And I believe that most of them actually probably believe that what they're doing is worthwhile.
For Campus Update, I'm Rebecca McLean.
Wisconsin sports enthusiasts who fail to pay fines for hunting and fishing violations may lose their driver's licenses. State Representative John Gard says under his proposed bill, judges could suspend licenses for up to 1 year for unpaid fines. Gard says right now the state is losing a great deal of money because the fines just go uncollected.
The snow has finally melted and summer is just around the corner. With it will come millions of tourists seeking out Wisconsin's many attractions. Organizations seeking to win the summer's tourist dollars gathered on the state capitol square Wednesday to show off the best of their areas have to offer. Eagle River Cranberry Fest chairperson Cindy Meinholz explains the event.
Show all the people in the Madison area and the legislators that happen to be out on their lunch hour what tourism is all about and how important it is as an industry.
Communities from the Lake Superior Shore to the Illinois border use traditional clothing and food as well as current attractions to lure visitors. According to the Wisconsin Department of Tourism, tourists put about $5.5 billion into the state's economy last year.
Next weekend is graduation weekend. Graduation brings masses of families and friends to Madison, which keeps local businesses going. Campus Update's Dawn Jones has the story.
Graduation is around the corner. This week, many seniors are wrapping up their college careers. The graduation commencement weekend brings massive amounts of people to Madison. This celebration brings a busy weekend for businesses on campus and throughout Madison. Hotels are booked to capacity, leaving very little vacancies. Madison Inn Assistant Manager Tim Ayer anticipate the graduation weekend.
It's like 2 or 3 people to a room, and they all bring a couple of cars, so it's just a zoo around here.
Other businesses on campus also anticipate the graduation rush. Several hotels and restaurants find people making reservations very early in advance to beat the crowds.
People want to book ahead years in advance. Yeah, so that cuts down on the people who just plain don't show up or, forgot that they made reservations because they did so far ahead.
So while vendors are getting ready for graduation weekend, seniors are enjoying their last days on campus by preparing for finals or relaxing on Bascom. For Campus Update, I'm Dawn Jones.
I'm sitting on the terrace during the days and enjoying the weather, and at night I'm hanging out at the library all night, so trying to enjoy the weather and study at the same time.
I'm actually a Buddhist, and so I meditate. And I feel that even things I don't know about the classes, things that are outside the realm of the classes just come to me.
Black and Puerto Rican students clashed in a Milwaukee high school, resulting in 22 arrests. Riverside University High School Principal Priscilla Keene says 2 students began arguing during a random weapons check. The argument escalated into several fights throughout the school. No weapons were found in the search, and school officials will investigate the incident.
Dane County food pantries are excited this week after completing another successful Food Share Day. Madison restaurants have been participating in Food Share Day for 4 years. During the day, the eateries donate 10% of their food receipts to help stock Dane County food pantries with food items for children. The Nitty Gritty is one of these restaurants.
Part of the community, and we want to give something back to the community.
All day Tuesday, patrons ate at their favorite restaurants. While they were ordering and eating, customers were indirectly sharing food with hungry Madison children. So if you ate at any of these restaurants, you may have been helping someone without even knowing it.
TV veterans Dick Clark, Phil Donahue, and Bob Newhart are being inducted into the Academy of Television Arts and Sciences Hall of Fame. Ceremonies will be held in Orlando, Florida during November. Weather cooperated last weekend for a party many Madison students look forward to every year. Hundreds of students gathered on Saturday to continue a Madison tradition, the Mifflin Street Block Party. It's an annual outdoor event with bands, beer, and there's always an interesting mixture of people. Sean McLaughlin lives on Mifflin and thinks the event will continue for a long time to come.
The force that be, the powers that be came through.
The block party originally started as an anti-war rally in the early 70s. Now it serves a different purpose, a place for people to gather and have a good time in the name of tradition every spring. Some students say the block party is the last chance they'll get to let loose before final exams.
You may see him every day, but do you really know who he is? Campus Update's Jessica Kozak brings us a story about a little man with a big heart.
On a campus as big as Madison, there are countless nameless faces. But if you spend time on State Street, there's one person who is simply unmistakable. Dan Matheson is 34 years old. He lives with a parakeet and 2 gerbils near campus. His nickname, Scanner Dan, comes from an obvious source. He always wears a scanner on his belt.
This multiple-purpose radio, it gets weather, anything you want to listen to. It's just for fun. It's just a hobby I have. I like listening to fire calls.
Dan likes most UW students.
Some are nice and some are not. Everybody's different. And I treat them like they treat me.
Dan tries to help people when he gets the chance.
And he's been known for walking girls home and stuff, so, to be safe.
Yeah, he's a friendly guy. I mean, he offers you information. You don't even have to ask him anything, and he'll offer you something to say.
Dan offers this advice on meeting people.
Yourself. Just walk up to them and talk to them. They don't bite.
Dan says he is always excited when spring comes because he spends warm days outside with friends. But the coming of summer is a sad time. Most of his friends are students.
They won't be here this summer. It's really hard. It hurts when they're not going to be here. It hurts.
For those who will be leaving this campus in a matter of days, there will always be memories of Wisconsin. And Dan makes it clear his friends will remain in his heart forever. For Campus Update, I'm Jessica Kozak.
Michael Finley joins the nation's lead on Team USA, a collection of the 12 best college basketball players in the nation. The team is coached by Duke's Mike Krzyzewski and includes notables like Purdue's Glenn Robinson and North Carolina's Eric Montross. Finley says he was surprised at being selected and says it will be a little more challenging than the pickup games he gets at home.
For many individuals, shooting pool is a form of relaxation and a chance to spend time with friends. But Campus Update's Vicky Sapolsky discovered one Madison resident made pool his lifetime decision.
Unique Billiards seems like any other pool hall. Players choose a table, rack up the balls, aim, and shoot. But Unique is special. Its owner is former Midwest pool champion Jerry Brice, who teaches players around the world how to shoot shots like this and this. Brice says the money isn't teaching, but his greatest sense of achievement is
getting a reputation of being one of the best at what I do.
Brice's reputation has spread as far as Hollywood. He spent a month teaching actress Whoopi Goldberg how to play for a TV movie. Brice has spent 30 years perfecting his game of pool. He says things have changed considerably since he started.
I won 9 of the last 14 tournaments I played in around the Midwest and still couldn't make any money at it.
Although Brice doesn't compete professionally anymore, he is invited to teach at many national events. But Brice says he likes to teach people in Madison as often as he can.
I give free lessons to people in Madison, so that's my little gift back to my community. If anybody wants, they call, they come in late in the afternoon, and they get freebie lessons.
With Brice's help, even occasional players can make shots like this, or this. But it's always reassuring to know that even professionals sometimes make mistakes. For Campus Update, I'm Vicki Sapolsky.
Walt Disney was an FBI informant. According to an unauthorized biography of the studio mogul's life, Disney was well known for his right-wing standings and was an informant from 1940 until his death in 1966. FBI documents obtained under the Freedom of Information Act state Disney turned in many Hollywood actors, writers, producers, and directors. The documents were heavily censored, and so exact names cannot be identified.
Thanks a lot for watching Campus Update this semester. Congratulations to the graduating class of 1993, and we hope you have a great summer.
Till the one day when the lady met this fellow, and they knew that it was much more than a hunt. That this group must somehow form a family. That's the way we all became the Brady Bunch. The Brady Bunch. The Brady Bunch. That's the way we became the Brady Bunch.
Campus Update is a cooperative production of the University of Wisconsin School of Journalism, School of Communication Arts, and WHA Cable 3.